Kakadosh Boker Tov, Masechet Taanit Daf Yomi 15a1. We are starting the second chapter, the second perek. The Mishnah says, Seder Ta'aniot Keitzad. What is the Seder of the Ta'aniot? Remember, we're talking about the last 7 fasts. So what is the Seder of the last 7 fasts? So it says over here, Motziin et Teva, we're going to take out the Teva, Lirchova Shel Ir. We're going to take out the Teva to the city center. Venotnin Efer Mikle, we're going to put Efer Mikle's ashes, right, on Al Gabeh Teva, on top of the Teva, Uvrosh Hanasi, on top of the head of the Sanhedrin, Rosh HaBetin, the head of the Betin, V'chol Echad Ve'echad Notem Berosho, and every single person is going to put ashes on his head. Hazaken Shebahen Omer Lifnem Divrei Kibushin. So the eldest of them, he's going to come and he's going to start giving them musar, which is Divrei Kibushin, which means he comes and he tries to get them to do teshuvah. And he says, Achenu, our brothers, Lo ne'emar be'anshe Niveh. It's not written by Niveh and Sefer Yonah, Vayad Elokim et Tzakav et Tanetam, that he saw their sackcloth and their ta'anit. Meaning it wasn't the sackcloth, we spoke about the sackcloth last night, Tedvav, right? It wasn't their sackcloth and their ta'anit that did everything. Ela vayad Elokim ma'asehem ki shavu b'dakam ha'ra'ah. Hashem saw their actions. Actions are much greater than sackcloth and the ta'aniyot, right? So he says, "V'Kabbalah Omer," and the Divrei Nevi'im it says, "V'kiru levavchem ve'al bigdechem ve'shuv el Hashem v'chem." The ikar of the teshuvah is talui b'ma'asim, and not outwardly things. When a person has to do teshuvah, it has nothing to do. Person could put on sackcloth. No, I want you to do teshuvah. I want you to change your actions. That's what I want. Okay? Amdu b'tfilah. When they used to do the tefillah in the Rechova Shel Ir, Boridin lifnei ateva, they used to take a shliach tzibur, which was zaken veragil, an elderly person, but somebody that was ragil in tefillot. V'yesh lo banim, he's got children. Ubetor rekam, his house is empty. What does that mean? He's an ani, he doesn't have any money. Kedei sheyeh lo bol shalem et tefillah, in order that his heart will be shalem and tefillah. Ve'omer lifneihem, and he's going to tell them 24 brachot. He's going to tell them 24 blessings. 24 brachot. Are the 24 blessings? Shemona Esrei, right? It says Shemona Esrei shebechol yom, the 18 blessings of every single day. Umosif alehem, and he's going to add on to them od shesh, another 6. So you got 18 blessings plus 6 blessings. Okay? Ve'eluhen, these are the extra blessings that you add on to the original 18. Number 1, zichronot. Number 2, shofarot. Number 3, El Hashem batzarat ali karati v'heneni tzilim kufkaf. Number 4, Shila ma'alot t'sayna le'anim and yivozri kufkaf aleph, 121. Number 5, Shira ma'alot mimamakim k'ratich Hashem, which is Tilim 130. Tefillah le'ani, that's number 6, Tefillah le'ani chiyatov, right, which is going to be Tilim kufbet 102. So those are the 6 different blessings that you add on to the Amidah. So you have 18 plus 6, 24. Rabbi Yehuda says, "Lo hayat tzarich lomar zichronot v'shofarot." You don't have to say zichronot v'shofarot, right? But rather, el haomer tachtem, you say instead of them, ha-ra'av kiyeh v'aretz dever kiyeh, which is basically from Melachim Aleph Chet, pasuk lamed zayin. And number 2 is going to be Asher yad davar Hashem el Yirmiyahu, right? Divrei abatzarot, which is Yirmiyahu Yudaled Aleph. Okay, so these are going to be, so basically the machloket is that for sure we're doing 24. The question is, what do? You do 18 plus these 6, or the last ones, right, was instead of the zichronot shofarot, you say these other 2 psukim instead of the zichronot v'shofarot. Continues the Mishnah. Ve'omer chotmehen, and you're going to say the blessings. What are the end blessings? Right? Ala rishona, on the first beracha, re'eh ve'onyenu, you're going to say Omer, Mi shana et Avraham Avinu bar Moriyahu ya'aneh etchem v'yishmak b'kol tzatachatchem hayom hazeh Baruch atah Hashem Kol Yisrael. Okay, so this is on Re'eh ve'onyenu. We finished Kol Yisrael. Now you're adding on. You're saying the one that listened to Avraham Avinu in Har HaMoriah, right? He should answer you and hear the cries, right? The cries. And this day, Baruch atah Hashem Kol Yisrael. Ala shniya, on the second one, Omer, he's going to say Mi shana et avotenu Yam Suf. The one that answered our forefathers on Yam Suf. Hu ya'aneh etchem. Remember what? Yeah, these are the extra berachot, the extra blessings. No, but these are just the chatimot. The Chatimot are just the end part. The end part.
So
No, we already brought the full bracha. We said part of it was going to be the Shir Ma'alot. This one, Shir Ma'alot, Tefillah Le'ani. Tefillah Le'ani is already a long one. Yeah, the entire thing. Yes, in the middle of Shmona Esrei. This is now just the Chatimot. This is just the Chatimot. Yeah. Then it says over here on the third bracha, which is shofarot. What are you going to say? Mishanat Yoshua Bagilgal. Right? We answered Yoshua in the Gilgal. Okay, exactly. That's where we're going to go one by one. This is talking about when the Chomot Yericho fell, when they came and they went around it, and then they camped around Gilgal, and then they knocked it down. On the fourth one, right, which is Batzarat Ali, he's going to say Mishana Shemuel Bamitzpah. That which he listened to Shemuel. This is talking about when we were saved from the Pelishtim, that they went and our tefillah was answered. So that's Mishana Shemuel Bamitzpah. The fifth blessing. You know the Eliyahu Navi was on Har Karmel with the Nevi Abal, with the Yeah. Now it says, yeah, well, but Gilgal is not.
Even though we already had a Shomea Tefillah.
Which one?
We already had a Shomea Tefillah in the 18.
Yes, you're right. 100%. But this is on the Shila Ma'alot Asayna Ilarim.
We can have two.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. And then the sixth one is from Imam Hakim Karati Hashem, who Mishanat Yonami Miadaga. He's going to answer us on the Mitzvah. So this is the same thing what we say on an end. Nowadays, how do we finish on Enu? Yeah, Ala Shavit on the seventh one, right? He says, David, Bet Shlomo Beno Yerushalayim. Right, the one that answered David Amelech and Shlomo his son in Yerushalayim. The one has mercy on the land. Yeah, Maaseh. There was a story. So I don't know if you guys realize this is very interesting. Because here you have the two dots in the middle of the Mishnah. We still didn't even get to the Gemara. This is all a Mishnah stuff. Yeah, there's all a Mishnah. Okay, it's a long Mishnah. Maaseh, there was a story, right? Tetvav Amud Bet. By the way, the Mishnah goes all the way until halfway down there, or almost towards the bottom, if you see. That's where the full Mishnah. So the Mishnah is basically the entire daf. Right? There was a story. During the days of Rabbi Halafta and Rabbi Hanania ben Teradion, Shavar Echad Lifnei HaTeva, that there was a Shliach Tzibur that he came in front of the Teva. And he finished the entire Goel Yisrael. And they didn't say Amen, but rather they said Baruch Shekom V'Olam V'Ed. Tikua Keoni HaKohanim Tekau. So then afterwards he went and the Shema said, Kohanim, start blowing the shofar, and they blew. And then he said, right? And again, they started doing Tikkat shofar. Afterwards he went and he said, Hariu b'nei Aaron Hariu. Blow the shofar, the children of Aaron, blow. And then he added, right? And then they did it. Then again he said, but now when the thing came in front of the rabbis, what did they say? They said, we didn't answer the only time you would answer Baruch Shem to a bracha is only in the Bet HaMikdash, right? In the Shara Mizrach in Har Bayit, which means on the eastern gates of Har Bayit. That's the only place. Everywhere else you don't answer Amen. So the fact that you don't do those things. Okay? Next. Shalosh Ta'aniyot Arishonot. The first three fasts, Anshe Mishmar Mitanin, Velo Mashlimin. So the Anshe Mishmar, they fast, but they don't finish the fast. Remember the Anshe Mishmar, the Mishmar, you had Mishmarot of Kihuna, Lewiya, Levi, and Yisraelim. So you had 24 watches. 24 watches of Kohanim, 24 watches of Leviim, 24 of Yisraelim. The Kohanim obviously were doing the service, the Leviim were the ones singing, and the Yisraelim used to go into the Bet HaMikdash, and they used to in the Bet HaKnesset, sorry, they used to pray. Okay? So now what happens is that here, the Anshe Mishmar, that means they are the ones that are working that week. So it's called Anshe Mishmar. So the Anshe Mishmar, they're working that week. What do? Mitanin, they do Taanit, Velo Mashlimin. Remember, Anshe Mishmar, these are the ones that are on watch. Right? What do you think we had a Mishmar last night? Yeah? Mishmar means you're on watch. You're coming, you're learning, right? Some people, they come afterwards. But you're coming, you're learning, that's Anshe Mishmar. Okay? Mitanin, they do Ta'anit, Velo Mashlimin. They don't do Ashlamot. The Anshe Bet Ab, Ashlamot, they don't finish it off. Nashlim. to finish,
Well,
complete.
yeah, but they don't. Oh, they don't.
They
complete
start the
time-
fast, but
time.
they don't finish the fast. No. They start it, but they don't finish it. Anshe Bet Av, what is Anshe Bet Av? Lo Yom Klal. Remember the Anshe Bet Av, it would be on that day. Meaning it wasn't only they were working that week, they were the ones working on that day. Because remember, the Mishmar, the Anshe Mishmar was the entire week.
Standby,
right?
no?
Exactly, they're standby. The Anshe Bet Av was on that day. So on that day, it was only this family. So for example, let's say we took last time, right? Mishpachat Kohen. So let's say even we're going to take the Kohanim of Bet Knesset. So the Anshe Mishmar would be Mishpachat Kohen from Tunisia over here, from Morocco over there, from Halab over there. Yeah, you have all the Kohanim. So now that's Anshe Mishmar of that week, because this is the week of our Bet Knesset. So it's our week. But Sunday would be Mishpachat Kohen, Philip Kohen from Tunisia. Right? Monday would be Ronen Kohen from Morocco. Yeah, so you have over there. Tuesday, right, would be Mishpachat Eli Kohen. No, Kohanim only. No, but only Kohanim. Only Kohanim. Yeah, Eli Kohen from Halab. Yeah, so each one, right, would have also that day, specific day. That's called Bet Av.
So they had a specific job every day.
Of course. Every day they had specific jobs. So now Anshe Mishmar is the entire week. No, they would be ready, exactly. But they were part. But one day of the week they did work, and then on Shabbat they all work together. One more time, no. Anshe Mishmar means, right? We are all one family. We come to the Bet Mikdash, right? We come to the Bet Knesset, right? No, that's throughout the other days of the week. There's one day that you work.
No problem.
Okay, so you work that one day.
I'm not working.
No, the day that you're not working, you're on standby. The day you're not working, standby. You're standby.
Standby, like that.
Those Taaniyot Rishonot, the first ones, the Anshe Mishmar, they start the Taanit, but they don't finish, they don't complete the Taanit. So here it says in Rashi that they eat close to the nighttime, right? The Sfat Emet wanted to say that they eat after Chatzot, but it's not so simple. Meaning there's a machlokes, there's a mamash right after Chatzot, or no, they do fast, but they don't have to finish. So maybe a little bit earlier, whatever, they take a bite. Anshe Bet Av wouldn't fast at all. Okay? Now, Shalosh Shniyot, the second group of three, Anshe Mishmar Mitanim Mashmim. Here it's more stringent. Remember, every group of fasts that it's worse. It's much stricter. So what happens? The second group of three, Anshe Mishmar, they fast and they finish the fast. Mitanim Mashmim. Anshe Bet Av Mitanim Mashmim. The Anshe Bet Av now, right? What do? They fast, but they don't finish. Sheva Charonot, the last seven, Elu V'Elu Mitanim Mashmim. Everybody fasts, and they finish the entire fast. These are the words of Yeshua. Chachamim argue on Rabbi Yoshua. Chachamim omerim, shalosh Taaniyot Rishonot, the first three, elu ve'elu lo yom mitanim klal, nobody fasts. Shalosh Niyot, the second group of three, Anshe Mishmar mitanim lo mashmin, the Anshe Mishmar, they fast but they don't finish. Anshe Bet Av lo yitun klal, Anshe Bet Av wouldn't fast at all. Sheva Charonot, the last seven, Anshe Mishmar mitanim mashmin, the Anshe Mishmar would fast and finish. Anshe Bet Av, they would start fasting but they wouldn't finish. So if you realize, Riyad Rabbi Yoshua and Chachamim, each one was the next step. So in the first one, right, what was Rabbi Yoshua? Rabbi Yoshua was Shalosh Rishonot, the Mishmar, Mitanim, Velo Mashlimin, and then Anshe Bet Av, Walo. Correct? Mitanim, Velo Mashlimin, Bet Av, Walo. Right? According to Chachamim, the first step of three, Walo, nothing for everybody. Everybody, nobody, nothing. Right? Of the Mishmar and the Bet Av. The next one, the middle three. So according to the Rabbi Yoshua, the Shniyot, Anshe Mishmar, fully fast, and Anshe Bet Av, half. According, which one? The middle three. There's 3, 3, and 7. So the middle three.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Israel's fasting or
All of Klal Yisrael for sure are fast.
no,
But we're talking about the Kohanim. These are the Kohanim. The Kohanim have a special rule because they are doing the service in the Bet HaMikdash. So they're not going to be fasting. You understand? But again, it depends on the severity. The more that it keeps on going up, the more that they will be fasting.
So
Because now it's for
They were
everyone.
not in the Bet HaMikdash. They were fasting with
Of
Israel.
course, because they're not on Anshe Mishmar.
Yeah.
Anshe Mishmar are the ones that are on call for that week of the service.
Everybody is fasting, and this is the special group working in the bed.
Exactly.
זה כמונו וכמה,
Yeah.
ועכשיו אנחנו בשיעור,
So
ואלה שלא
now, yeah,
Those
and
who
now
don't
he
know,
says like this. Anshe Mishmar, right? So now we just actually explained the 3 different cases, right? So remember, you had first group of 3, middle group of 3, last group of 3. According to Rabbi Yoshua, first group of 3, you already have the Anshe Mishmar Mitaminim Velo Mishlemin. Anshe Betav Walo. According to Chachamim, the opposite. The first one, nobody fasts. So now you go to the second step. The second step, if I already told you that the Anshe Mishmar, right, that the Anshe Mishmar were Mitanim Lo Mishlemin, so the second one now, they're Mitanim Mashlemin. And now the Anshe Betav are going to be Mitanim Velo Mashlemin. And according to Rabbi Chachamim, no, you just went up one level. Anshe Mishmar are Mitanim Velo Mishlemin. You understand? That means each one you're going up one level. Okay?
Can you please explain? No, Rabbi.
Anshe Mishmar. Anshe Mishmar ve'anshe, right? It says over here like this. Anshe Mishmar are mutarin lishto yain balelot av lo bayamim. The Anshe Mishmar, they're allowed to drink wine at nighttime, but not during the daytime. Because if they drink during the daytime, they're not allowed to do the service, and they're on standby. If you're on standby, you can't be drinking. What?
They could call you anytime to
They could get any call, right? Ve'anshe betav, the people which are anshe betav, lo bayom lo balayla. They can't do it not during the day, not during the night. Why? Because their avodah continues into the night. So therefore, they cannot drink not during the day, not during the night. If you're anshe mishmar, only at nighttime, but not during the day. Anshe mishmar and anshe ma'amad asurim lesaperim lechabes. The anshe mishmar and anshe ma'amad. So now remember, the anshe ma'amad were the Gemara is going to explain exactly. That's the Israel, right? It was anshe ma'amad. So the anshe mishmar and anshe ma'amad, they're not allowed to take their haircuts, lechabes, or to wash their clothing. But on the fifth day, which is on Thursday, mutarim mipnei kavod Shabbat. They're allowed to because of kavod Shabbat. So we're going to explain why is it? Why is it that they can't take haircuts or they can't? Because obviously we want them to come in when they're clean, right? We don't want them to come in. That's the same reason for Chol Hamoed. Why is it that Chol Hamoed you're not allowed to take a haircut? You're not because we want you to come in, but it doesn't matter. But this is no. Why is that tzar? You have a zechut of working in the Beit Hamikdash. You're going to call that tzar?
No, that's nothing to do with.
But Anshe Ma'amad was nothing to do with the Tani. All the time, Anshe Ma'amad always used to come in every single week of the 24 watches. All the time. You had Kohanim, Levim, Israelim. Exactly. 100%. Okay? So now it says the Mishnah. Kol hakatuv b'Megillat Taanit. Anything which is written in Megillat Taanit, Dilal misped, not to do a sped on it. Lefanav asur, le'acharav mutar. The day before, you're not allowed to do a sped, eulogy. But the day afterwards, you're allowed to. Rabbi Yosef argues the day before that day. If it's written right now, we don't do Taanit or we don't do a sped on the, what are we today? The 22nd of Kislev. Why? Right? Because there was a very big thing that happened to all of Am Yisrael, right? And therefore, that's it. So now what happens? So therefore, you're not allowed to do the sped the day before also. But the day afterwards, you're allowed to. Rabbi Yosef argues and he says, the day before and the day afterwards, you're not allowed to. If it says Dilali Tana, you're not allowed to do Ta'anit there. Shelefanav la'acharav mutar. So the day before and the day afterwards, you are allowed to do it. Rabbi Yosef says, Lefanav asur la'acharav mutar. The day before, right, you're not allowed to, but the day afterwards, you're allowed to. Okay? Fine. En gozrin ta'anit al tzibur b'tchila b'chamishi. You never start a ta'anit of a tzibur on a Thursday. Shelo le'afkia she'arim. In order not to come and drive up the prices, to have price gouging. Right, because we already explained this if you remember, because if not, then what's going to happen is that imagine all of a sudden it comes Thursday and everyone's in Ta'anit. You're going for buying food for Shabbat, and what are you doing? You're buying like, I don't know what, because you're hungry. Yeah. So what happens? The guy that's a Chacham, he all of a sudden picks up the prices. And he says, no. What? No, even the Yudim. Yeah. So therefore, they don't do that. Okay, so now he says over here, the first three Taniot, it's always going to be Monday, Thursday, Monday. So you always start Shani, Bahab, Bet, Hey, Bet. Monday, Thursday, Monday. Shalosh Niot, the second ones also. The second ones, Chamishi, Shani, Chamishi. It's Thursday, Monday, Thursday. Right? Because since you already started Monday, Thursday, Monday, so now you're going to start the next Thursday. Right? Rabbi Yosef says no. Keshem Shena Rishonot B'Chamishi, Kacha, you never start on Thursday.
We just
you never start
on Thursday.
אין גוזרים תענית על הציבור בראשי חודשים, בחנוכה ובפורים. Remember this tomorrow's daf. So there's Erev Chanukah, yeah? So it says here, you're not allowed to be gozer on ta'anit al tzibur, not on Rosh Chodesh, not on Chanukah, and not on Purim. But if they already started the Seder Ta'aniyot, for example, they started the Seder Ta'aniyot, and all of a sudden it's going to fall now on Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, Purim. And mafsikin, they don't stop it. These are the words of Gamliel. Amar Rabbi Meir says, Rabbi Meir, even though Rabbi Gamliel just said that they're mafsikin, modeh yashel mashlimin. Right? He does say that what happens is that on one of these days, they're mafsikin before, which means that they would do the fast, but they wouldn't finish the fast. It means according to Ram Gamliel, right? Even though it came down on Rosh Chodesh, even though doesn't matter, you fast. Why? You started, you don't stop.
And until when you
Right?
need to fast that day to consider?
No, but that's what he says here. Which one? About Mashlimin?
Starting.
Yes. Amar Rabbi Meir says Rabbi Meir, even though Ram Gamliel just said Mafsikin, we just said he's Modeh Shem Mashlimin. V'chen Tisha B'Av shechal yot b'Erev Shabbat. The same halacha on Tisha B'Av that comes out on Erev Shabbat, they stop a little bit before the nighttime because of Kavod Shabbat in order not to come into Shabbat when it's a Taanit. Remember that nowadays this doesn't exist, but Taanit, right? Tisha B'Av cannot fall out on Erev Shabbat. It could only fall out either on Sunday or on Shabbat, and then it's pushed off to the Sunday, but it will never be on a Friday. Okay? Fine. Now we're in the Gemara. So Gemara on Tetvav Amud Bet, 15b. The Gemara says, Seder Taaniyot Ketzad. How is the Seder of the Taaniyot? So Motzin et Teva, they're going to take out the Teva to the Chovah Shel Eid. Fa'afilu bekamaita, ask the Gemara what? Even in the first set of 3 fasts, they're going to take the Teva in the city center? So Arminu, we have a contradiction. Shalosh Taniyot Rishonot Ushniyot. The first set of 3 and the second set of 3, Nichnasim le Bet HaKnesset, they come into the synagogue. Umipalin Kedesh Umipalin Kol Shel HaKalan, they pray normally. Uvesheva Achron, only the last 7 Motzin et Teva l'Chovah Shel Eid. They're going to put the ashes on top of the teva and the head of Nasi and the head of Evedin. Right, and everyone takes, they put on their own head. Rabbi Natan says, Efer Mikle, Hemevin, they would bring Efer, which is Sirefa. Efer Sirefa, not just Stam. What does that mean? Here it says, not just Stam Efer, Efer Mikle, because sometimes Efer could mean Afar. You're saying Efer Mikle is Mamash, you actually burnt it and it became ashes. Right, yeah, of the ashes. So Amar Papa says, you're right. Our Mishnah, when our Mishnah says it's talking about you're going to take the teva to the Chovah Shel Eid, it's only on the last 7 fasts. On the first 3 and the second 3, no. Next we said you're going to put it on the head of the Nasi and the head of the Abedin. The Hadar Tani, and then we learned on the head of each one puts it on his head. Any is it so? Right? He says, Tanya, we learned to the Braita. Rabbi Omer, Rabbi says, Begdula matchilim min hagadol, uva klala matchilim min hakatan. Meaning, when you're talking about something good, something positive, you always start with the big guns. When you're doing something negative, like a klala, you start with the lower people. You don't start with the higher people. So therefore, this is like a klala. This is not something good. So why are you starting to put the ashes on the head of the Avbetin, on the head of the Sanhedrin, and the... It's klala. Klala matchilim min hakatan, not min hagadol. So answers the Gemara. What's the proof? Bigdula matchilim min hagadol shlema. But says vayom Moshe Aaron veLelazar litamar banav. So Moshe Rabbeinu comes and he says to Aaron and to Elazar and Timar, his children, right? Which means he comes first. He says Aaron, and then his children. There were 3 people that sinned: Adam Rishon, Chava, and the Nachash. Who was cursed first? The Nachash. Ve'achar kach, and afterwards, Reisha nitkala Chava. Ve'achar kach nitkala Adam. So to do with curses or bad things, you start with a katan until you go to the gadol. But to do with gedula, you start from the gadol to the katan. So answers the Gemara, ha chashivuta lididhu, right? This is the chashivut as well, which means the fact that we're putting efer on their heads first shows that they are anashim chashuvim. The amri lahu, because the Maaseh is telling the people, atun chashivutu mibayin nachameh kule alma. You guys are the ones which are chashuvim to start asking for the entire nation, right? For the rain. And therefore, the placing of the efer on your heads is a sign of gedula. It's not a sign of klala. We would have thought it's a sign of klala, but listen, bad things are happening. What are you putting it on their head first? No, opposite. You're telling them, you guys are the chashuvim shabam. You guys, your tefillot are answered more. So I'm going to put it on your head first. And that's why it's showing a chashivut. It's not a klala. It's not something negative. It's something actually positive. Okay? Nekuda. Right? The 2 dots. So now it says over here like this. Right? It says we skip out all the brackets over there if you realize. And it says now v'chol echad noten berosho. Each person also is going to put the ashes on his head. Nasi v'avbetin nami nishkluinu v'ninu beroshai. So ask the Gemara, why is it that by the Nasi and the avbetin, other people put it on their head, but to do with every single Joe Schmo, they put it on their own head? Why? Says the Gemara. The question is, why is it that the avbetin and the Nasi, somebody else puts it on their head, but later on it's every single person that puts it on his own head? Says Rabbi Abba, Kisri eno dome mitbayesh me'atzmo lemitbayesh me'acherim. What does that mean? You cannot compare if you're going to embarrass yourself or you're going to be embarrassed with somebody else.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you're going to come and you're going to take water and throw it on your clothing, right, or wine or whatever it is, it's a busha. You did it to yourself. But if somebody else comes and he starts doing this on you,
Humiliation.
it says humiliate. It's much worse. It's a lot of It's not the same thing. So what happened? So therefore, that's why it's much more. They do it to him. And why do they do it to him? In order, so that way it's going to be more of a busha. In order that they're going to. So veheiche manachlo. Where do you put it exactly? We're going to get to the two dots, right? So he says veheiche manachlo. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak says Yitzchak bimkom tefillin. They put it on top of the tefillin. Shneimar, but it says in pasuk. Lasum la veletzion atel lehem pertach havezeh. Which means that's what we said. Tisha B'av. Tisha B'av and Mincha. We come. We say lasum la veletzion. We're going to place to the avelim of Zion. Latel lehem pe'er. We're going to put the pe'er, which is a tefillin. Remember, noten isa betifara. Pe'er is a tefillin. It's a splendor, right? We're going to put tachat efer. Beforehand, we had efer. We had the ashes. Now we're going to put the pe'er tachat efer, which is a tefillin instead of the ashes. That's why in the morning we don't put on tefillin.
So
We're going to put it in the afternoon.
They don't put it on the tefillin.
No, not on the tefillin. On the place where the tefillin would be.
You know, there is another topic.
What is efer mikle?